Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Asfar Hassan, Chief Executive, Natural Forum. Ali Akai, Chairman, Martin Dar. Sayyid Zulfikar Bukhari, Ministers for Overseas Pakistanis and Human Development. Mr. Sajjad Kareem, Member of the European Parliament. Distinguished guests, representatives of the overseas chambers, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to Islamabad, but I particularly welcome those 60 delegates who've come from 25 different countries at a time which is challenging. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Well, I'd like to begin by thanking you for the invitation to be here in this business summit. But I'd like to begin by saying a word about your theme. I love your theme. Imagining the unimaginable. You know, when this was announced, when I heard it, I said, my God. On the political front in Pakistan, the unimaginable has happened. Who could imagine? Who could imagine just a few months back that the people of Pakistan would reject the traditional, well-entrenched political parties and elect a party of so-called novices, the PTI. This, ladies and gentlemen, is imagining the unimaginable. It has happened. Sajjad Kareem, in his talk, very rightfully said that, you know, in this global technical world of revolution, you know, when the center of gravity is shifting from the west to the east, you can either facilitate change or you can resist change. Well, Sajjad, the people of Pakistan have facilitated change by voting in the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. This is a party that has been advocating change. And change, inshallah, the people of Pakistan will see at the end of our term. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge the support we've had from the European Union. I remember sort of working for the GSP Plus and how the European parliamentarians and foreign ministers supported me then in helping Pakistan get GSP Plus. As he mentioned, and I'll reiterate, inshallah, I'm expecting Federica Mogherini in Islamabad, hopefully by the 26th, to sign a new strategic enhancement plan between Pakistan and the European Union. And I've told her that I'm very keen to do it. I invite you to Islamabad, and if your time and programs do not permit, I'm willing to come to Brussels, but I've got to sign this agreement because I know what it means for Pakistan. So hopefully this will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, revitalizing the economy. And your leaders sitting here, leaders of business, and your decisions will have an impact on Pakistan's economy. I want to share with you the vision of Prime Minister Imran Khan. We have a full agenda. One of the priorities in our agenda is fixing the economy, revitalizing the economy. People had started losing hope in Pakistan. And two very clear indicators of that was flight of capital and the brain drain that we saw. Educated, well-off Pakistanis were not feeling secure in Pakistan. And somehow we have to reverse that. Pakistanis have to feel confident about Pakistan. They have to be hopeful about their future. Then only will they invest in Pakistan and live in Pakistan. We, in the leadership role of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, we are very clear. We do not have Swiss bank accounts. We do not plan to have a Canadian passport along with our Pakistani passport. And we are not planning sort of new flats in the West End of London. We belong here, we live here, and we'll serve the people of Pakistan as long as they put us in a position to serve them. To do that, we have to address the economic issues Pakistan is facing. We were elected. We were elected on a people-centric agenda. The people of Pakistan were sick and tired of what they were seeing and what they had. The same rut over and over again. The mismanagement, the corruption, the inefficiency, and they wanted change. And that is what they did when they stamped us into office in 2018. We were aware that we will be facing a challenging economic situation, but honestly, having been in office for 6 months, and obviously the Finance Minister, Mr. Asad Umar, would know a lot more than I do on the economic front, but one meets and exchanges views. We were aware of the economic challenges, but we had no idea that the rot and the decay and the deterioration of institutions had gone that far. Just to give you a brief overview of what we inherited. On the 20th of August, when Prime Minister Imran Khan was sworn in and his cabinet was sworn in, what was the economic, the macroeconomic picture of Pakistan? 6.6% fiscal deficit, 6.6% of GDP, fiscal deficit, and rising. The debt burden in the last 10 years of two governments, of the Pakistan People's Party and the PMLN, the debt burden had increased from rupees 6 trillion to rupees 30 trillion. Agriculture sector, which is the backbone of our economy, the largest employer still, stagnant. And historically, economists have shown that when we perform better in the agriculture sector, the economy takes off. It has a direct impact on our growth. Every additional million bales of cotton means 1% GDP growth of the economy. Just the rule of thumb. And that sector, stagnant. No investments taking place. Foreign direct investment consistently declining. Unemployment on the rise, and what to talk about, the hidden underemployment. Almost one third of the country living beneath the poverty line. And in some areas, the other day I was with the Prime Minister in a place called, district called Tharparkar. If you want to look at the poverty figures, I think 75% of the people live beneath the poverty line in that remote backward district. So it varies, but generally one third living beneath the poverty line. And poverty alleviation is one of the key objectives of Prime Minister Imran Khan's government. You've often heard him talk about the modern-day miracle of China, in which in the last 3 decades, something like 80 million people were lifted out of poverty. That's some achievement. And I was with him when he was meeting President Xi Jinping, and he said, "This is what I admire of your nation and your leadership, how you've done it in the last 3 decades. 80 million people out of poverty." So, in short, all the macroeconomic indicators pointing in the wrong direction. This is the Pakistan that we assumed responsibility of on the 20th of August last year. Looking at this situation, looking at the challenging economic situation, my focus in the Foreign Office was immediately a redirection towards economic diplomacy. And we just held a first conference on economic diplomacy, and I wanted to acquaint officers of the Foreign Office that they have to play a role to promote investments and bilateral trade. This is an important priority of this government, and I want to see every mission of Pakistan contributing towards that. So economic diplomacy. For successful economic diplomacy and for revitalizing the economy, we need peace. We need peace in the neighborhood. That's a given. And what do we have? We have a challenging situation on the Western Front in Afghanistan. And we have a situation brewing on the Eastern Front. And you saw in the last few days what happened post-Pulwama. A war frenzy generated for political considerations. A political party not performing well, the economy not doing well, diverting the attention of the nation and creating a bogey And Pakistan bashing is, is a vote getter on the eastern side. So what do? Create a situation to sort of enhance their electoral possibilities. But for us, for Pakistan, peace in Afghanistan is essential. We are contributing, and this government, you've seen, is facilitating peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan. It's not easy, never was easy, will not be easy, but progress is being made, and one is hopeful. On the eastern side, from day one, 26th of July, the first national address of the Prime Minister, he's addressing the Indians, and he says, you take one step towards peace, we will take two. The very first letter he writes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he says, let the two foreign ministers meet on the sidelines in New York of the General Assembly and chart a way forward for peaceful coexistence. We have outstanding issues. They need to be resolved, but they can only be resolved through a dialogue, through engagement. And Pakistan wants to dialogue with you. Pakistan wants to engage with you. We were rebuffed, but we didn't give up. We continued with our peaceful gestures. And the Kartarpur corridor, the opening of the Kartarpur corridor is one example of our peace overture. With Iran, our third neighbor, a peaceful, stable border is our requirement. China, our other neighbor and our strategic partner, friend, a very good, sound relationship. But how to convert that relationship into an economic partnership is what we are looking at. And it is happening. It is happening because we are focusing, our priorities are different. The priorities of this government have been very clearly spelled out when we negotiated phase 2 of CPAC. And we have talked about how China can help Pakistan increase agricultural productivity through research and technology transfer. How China can relocate labor-intensive industry to Pakistan for employment generation and jobs for our youth. And mind you, 65% of our population falls in the category of youth. Expediting setting up special economic zones and attracting people to come and invest in these special economic zones. Obviously, this is different from the priorities of the last government. They had focused on metros and orange trains, which in our opinion would require subsidy from the taxpayer. In a country which is already in a fiscal deficit, this becomes increasingly difficult. Pakistan, in my opinion, can take advantage of its geostrategic location for its economic uplift. We haven't given enough thought to that. And this government intends to focus on that. How to leverage our strategic location to attract investments into Pakistan. The Prime Minister has been focusing on attracting investments, and you've seen just a few weeks back the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia visiting Pakistan, visiting Islamabad, and signing MOUs worth $20 billion of investment in Pakistan. Inshallah, 10 days from now, on the 23rd of March, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad, will be with us, accompanied by a large delegation of investors, Malaysian investors, that we interacted with when we were in KL, keen to invest in Pakistan. And I also know of the interest the UAE government has shown in investments, and they've sent a team to do the homework, the spade work, the research, and to identify areas which are attractive for their investments. I was in Qatar, and I can tell you, I can share with you, the Qataris have a plan of investing in the food processing industry of Pakistan because of the geographic proximity. They feel Pakistan can be a hub for agro products, and they can be sent to Doha, and from Doha they go all over the Gulf. They have a special arrangement, the GCC arrangement. So there are new opportunities being created, and this government wants to tap on them. People mentioned visas. Liberalizing the visa regime is a very clear indicator of how this government thinks and what is our mindset. We had a phobia. You know, every foreigner was seen with suspicion. And we want to overcome that. We want to open up this country. Let people come. Let people come and see for themselves what Pakistan is all about. And that will change the image of Pakistan. Unfortunately, our international image is not what it ought to be. How do we do that? Do you think just a few missions abroad can do it? No. It has to be done through a different way, by letting people in, mingling with people. You know, they have notions about, you know, how we treat our women. Come and see how dynamic our women are, how progressive they are, what kind of, you know, in different walks of life they are performing, and what results they're getting. They're outdoing the men of Pakistan, the boys of Pakistan. For that, we have to let people in. And this government has taken a very bold decision, and we are facilitating, we will be providing e-visa facility to 175 countries with timelines. If you have an objection, object within this period. And if there's no objection, the request is granted. You don't have to wait for weeks and months to get a visa. We've identified 50 countries. You arrive, you land in Islamabad, and on arrival, a visa will be stamped. What will that lead to? Besides improving the image of Pakistan, it will lead to more tourism. And tourism will lead to promoting hospitality industry in Pakistan. The service sectors will benefit out of it. And that's in line with our vision for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, People have been talking about restructuring the economy. Finance minister after finance minister in Pakistan has been talking about a mid-term program, a 5-year program, and every time we go back to the IMF with the same with the same problems, and they give us the same medicine over and over again. We have to get over this. And we can only get over this if we get our house in order. Pakistan is not a poor country. Pakistan is a resource-rich country. It's a poorly managed country. And if we can improve the management, and if we can bring honest leadership, nothing can stop Pakistan, inshallah. But if we want to do that, we will have to take a fresh look at our public sector enterprises and see the level of hemorrhage they're causing to our economy. We will have to dispassionately look that this tax to GDP ratio, is this sustainable? And if it's not, then we'll have to do something about it. We will have to see, can this country afford the level of corruption that we witness in state departments? And if we are not willing to eradicate it, then let's say goodbye. We have to. And we know how important, how powerful these mafias are. They are so well connected. They have deep pockets. They're influential people. They have the convincing power. You know, they have contacts in society. Taking them on will not be easy. But somebody has to. And I think today, the people of Pakistan have voted a leadership into office that intends to take them on for a better Pakistan. So I will conclude by saying that we can convert the present level of confidence that I am seeing in Pakistanis today. Believe you me, the Indian aggression has kindled a new kind of nationalism and national spirit in Pakistan. The last time people saw this was in 1965. And that hope and that rise of nationalism I can see in Pakistan. So let's convert this spirit. Let's harness this spirit for building a new Pakistan, what we in the PTI called a Naya Pakistan, a prosperous Pakistan. Thank you.